Hey, listen, brothers and sisters, man. If you like what you hear, hit the subscribe button, man. Subscribe to this channel. And also, please, go to isubk.com and pay your tithe. Drop me some cash so we can move around this planet like we need to, man, and do the things we need to do.
Everyone west. Everyone west. Everyone west.
Shalom. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua Barakathum to all the Akim out there. And Yahweh Shemar Alatham Ba'ashem Yahushua to all the Akwakian, and to all the children as well. This is the Sabbath Service. This is the Baltimore Sabbath Service, August 9th, 2025. And we're going to get right into it today. A quick review. We've been reviewing the book of Leviticus, where there are certain steps that you would have, there are certain procedures that you would have to do, or protocols you have to do if you did a certain type of sin. And you had different types of offerings that you needed to bring before the Most High to cover those sins, whether it was a sin of ignorance, whether it was trespass sin, whether it was a sin against your neighbor, whether it was a sin of ignorance against the Most High. You had to bring a certain type of offering to the Most High. And the book of Leviticus is very intricate because it just shows how much what sin can really do. Officer Korah last week was excellent in pointing out pretty much that every time you sin, when you're taking that animal before the Most High, and that animal has to be sacrificed, pretty much you're losing value of your household. That was an excellent point he brought out because, like you said, some people might think Leviticus is boring, we're going through all these sacrifices, but I always have to say, paint a picture yourself. Our values today is in certain things like your assets, like your car and your house and your whatever, your boat. I don't know if anybody, and a lot of us don't really think we have a boat. Some people might, but I know I don't. But, there are assets. Well, anciently, the value was in your livestock, your animals, your oxen. That's what we went over that in the Hebrew class. Oxen value a lot because they did a lot of work for you. So you got to go and sacrifice one of them, and especially your best one, because you couldn't just give the Most High anything. You had to give the best. Okay, you had to get the best oxen. So that you had to sacrifice that. Jeremiah made a good point. Just imagine throwing $1 million in the fire and burning it. And so you're losing value. It almost starts to kind of cause destruction to the things you had. Well, that happened in the beginning with Adam when he sinned. When he lost his kingdom, his house began to be destroyed. So you got to think of, all of these protocols is showing you what sin can really do to your house and the value and the things that are in it. Okay, so we're going to go into it. We're in Leviticus. We're reading in the book of Leviticus, chapter 5, 12 through 18. Chapter 5, 12 through 18, we're going to always, like we usually read in the Hebrew, then in the English one too. Leviticus chapter 5, verse 12. Hakahan, Wakamataza, Hakahan, Wamana, Malawa, Wamatazawa, Azakorata, Wakwa Tayar, Mahama Zabaka, Asya, Yahweh, Kata Hawa, verse 13. Wakapar, Alua, Hakahan, Katama Aqua, Ashar, Kata Kaf, Ba'ala, Wana Salat, Lawa, Wahayafa, Wakahan, Kamanacha, verse 14. Wayadabar, Yahal, Al, Masha, La Amar, verse 15. Napas, Kaya, Sama'al, Ma'al, Wakata'a, Basha Gaga, Makwa Dasya, Yahawa, Waha Hab Ya'a, Ashamwa, La Yahawa, Ayal, Samayam, Man, Ha Taza'an, Ba'araka, Kasa, Shaqualium, Bashaqual, Hakwadash, La Asham, Verse 16. Wa'ah, Ashar, Kata'ah, Mun, Hakwadash, Yeshalom, Wa'ah, Chama, Yeshakwa, Yawasa, Aliwa, Wanathan, Aqua, Lakahan, Ahakahan, Yakapar, Aliwa, Wa'ayal, Ba'asham, Wana Salak, Lawa, verse 17. Wa'am, Napash, Kaya, Zakata'a, Wa'aisha Tha, Akaf, Makal, Matazawak, Yahawa, Ashar, La'a, Za'aisha Yadna, Wala'a, Yadai, Wa'asham, Wanasha'a, I want what? Verse 18. Verse 18. Fahabaya'a, Ayal, Samayam, Man, Taza'an, Ba'iraka, La'asham, Al, Hakahan, Wakapar, Aliwa, Hakahan, Al, Shagagahwa, Ashar, Shagagah, Wa'a, La'a, Yadai, Wanasalat, Lawa. And that's it. Oh, and Salaki Rubber added, I wanted to point out the bread for today was fresh bread made by our sister Amma Shalom. Fresh bread, she's been making fresh bread for the service, so that the people, the priests, can eat it afterwards. So let's give her a hand.
All right, so we're going to be reading out of the book of Leviticus, chapter 5, and we're going to start in verse 12 in the English. Leviticus chapter 5, verse 12. Then shall he bring it to the priest, and the priest shall take his handful of it, even a memorial thereof, and burn it on the altar. According to the offerings made by fire unto the Lord, it is a sin offering. And what's so heavy is, like, this is nothing. Like, when you start talking about these sin offerings, you got to think they put this stuff on the grill. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's why they say, like, it's like throwing away money right now. You see what I'm saying? Like, sin costs. You see what I'm saying? The ultimate penalty, you know, it costs you your life. You see what I'm saying? But to atone for sin, like we're going through, it costs that, even back in the Old Testament. You see what I'm saying? Like, you had to pay and make recompense for what, the things that you did against the Lord. Verse 13. And the priest shall make an atonement for him as touching his sin, that he has sinned in one of these, and it shall be forgiven him. And the remnant shall be the priest as a meat offering. Verse 14. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, verse 15, if a soul commit a trespass and sin through ignorance in the holy things of the Lord, then he shall bring for his trespass unto the Lord a ram without blemish out of the flocks, with thy estimation by shekels of silver, after the shekel of the sanctuary for a trespass offering. Verse 16. And he shall make amends for the harm that he have done in the holy thing, and shall add the fifth part thereto, and give it unto the priest. And the priest shall make an atonement for him with the ram of the trespass offering, and it shall be forgiven him. Verse 17. And if a soul sin and commit any of these things which are forbidden to be done by the commandments of the Lord, thou he wist it not, yet is he guilty, and shall bear his iniquity. Verse 18. And he shall bring a ram without blemish out of the flock with thy estimation for a trespass offering unto the priest, and the priest shall make an atonement for him concerning his ignorance, when he erred and wist it not, and it shall be forgiven him.
Excellent. Now, can somebody tell me, now it's always, the offering was made to the Most High, and then the priest would actually, whatever was left of that offering, the priest would eat it. Okay, does anybody know what offering the priest that was totally consumed on the altar? Does anybody know what offering that was? That means the priest, nobody ate them. It was just totally consumed. I remember it was the burnt offering. The burnt offering was completely consumed. And that was offering the priest did not eat them. Nobody ate of that.
Just kidney and fat wrong.
I don't understand the question.
When they did the sacrifice,
I can speak up slack.
when they did the sacrifices, they usually took the kidney, the fat, and
They
ground
took the fat.
skull, and they burned that. I thought that was burned up.
I believe so. But I know the burnt offering was completely consumed. They did take the fat and the kidney and stuff out, and they burned that. That was complete. And then the other parts would be for like Aaron and the priests. But in the burnt offering, everything was consumed. That was completely.
One more question.
Come.
What is the greatest labor that person has? First page, as far as sin is concerned.
But trespasses, I think there's two types of trespass. One you can do against the Lord, I believe in ignorance, and I think you can do one against your neighbor, and that's in ignorance. But I'll check with.
So a trespass is pretty much like like say I do something wrong to you. You see what I'm saying? That would be a trespass that I have against you, or I've trespassed against you. If I do something against the Lord, that's a trespass against the Lord. So, like, say you got a trespass council. That means that two brothers or two sisters they have an art with each other, and that's what the trespass in this context means. Pretty much, someone has did something wrong to the other party.
And it's like, if I may, and it can be in ignorance too. Because verse 15 says that. So you could actually, that's why it says if you have a problem with your brother, go to him.
Right.
Because sometimes we might do a trespass in ignorance. And that's why we'll say, well, I didn't even know. You didn't tell me. Okay. And so that's why, you bring it to their attention that if they did do a trespass, because sometimes we might offend or do something to a brother or Akim in ignorance. We're doing a lot of trespasses to the Most High a lot of times, and especially when we're in the world in ignorance. Okay, but now that we are more aware of it, we still can do things in ignorance, a trespass. Okay, so that's pretty much the context of it. Good question. All right, with that, just the people up here, I'm mindful. Trooper Ayat, present thyself in thy registry.
Ayak kayo, one Yahweh, one Yashal.
Ayat kayo, one Yahweh, one Yashal.
Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shabbat.
Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shabbat. It's shot. All right. Now we're going to be reading. We're reading the book of Leviticus, chapter. We're going to be reading the book of Leviticus, chapter. We'll be reading the book of Leviticus, chapter 5, verses 19. Then we're going to jump over to Leviticus, chapter 6, 1 through 6 in the Hebrew. We'll read the Hebrew, and then we'll read it in the English.
Leviticus chapter 5, verse 19. Hashem, 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 Yahweh. Leviticus chapter 6, verse 1. Wayidbar Yahweh, oh, Mashallah, Amar, verse 2. Napas, Kaya, Lakata'a, Yama Ayla, Ma'aw, Yahweh, Wakakash, I'm a Yahweh. One, Awa, Adash Wama, Yad, Awa, Bagazol, Awa, Aisha, I'm a Yahweh. Verse 3, Awa, Mutaza'a, Abada, Bukakash, Baha, Manashabai, Al, Shakur, Al, Akak, Makal, Ashar, Ya'isha, Ka'adam, Lakata'a, Wahana, verse 4. Wahaya, Hiya, Lakata'a, Wa'asham, Wahashaya, Hagazalah, Ashar, Kazo, Awa, Ha'aisha. It's like Ha'aisha, Ashar, Aisha, Awa, Habaquada 1. How does that?
No, I said yeah. It's supposed to quad.
Haquad 1, the what? Ashar, Habaquad, Afwa, Awa, Ha'abada, Ashar, Mataza'a, verse 5, Awa, Makal, Ashar, Yashabai, Aluwa, Lashakwar, Washalom, Aqua, Bara Aswa, Wakamasha, Wakamashakiwa, Yasa, Aluwa, La Amma, La Ashar, Hawa Wa, La Thunwa, Wayawam, Ashamakwa, verse 6, Wa'a, Ashabwa, Yabiya'a, La Yahawa, Ayaw, Yamayam, Man, Hataza'an, Ba'iraka. How does that work? Ba'iraka. What? La Asham, all. Hakahun, and that's it.
So now let's go ahead and we're going to be reading Leviticus chapter. Leviticus chapter 5, verse 19. Then we're going to jump over Leviticus chapter 6, 1 through 6 in the English.
Leviticus chapter 5, verse 19. It is a trespass offering. He hath certainly trespassed against the Lord. Leviticus chapter 6, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, verse 2, if a soul sin and commit a trespass against the Lord, and lie unto his neighbor in that which was delivered him to keep, or in fellowship, or in a thing taken away by violence, or hath deceived his neighbor, verse 3, or hath found that which was lost, and lieth concerning it, and sweareth falsely in any of all these that a man doeth, sinning therein.
So this is interesting too, because even when you make a trespass against a lying against your neighbor, that's considered a trespass against the Lord. Shalom. That's still considered a trespass against the Most High when you're swearing falsely. So it's just like, the 10 commandments or the 10 words or the 10 sayings, the first parts have to do with the Most High. The last part has to do with dealing with your neighbor. But even if when you're trespassing against your neighbor, you're still sinning against the Most High. Okay, you're still sinning the Most High. You're guilty. Okay, that's still a trespass against the Most High. All right, keep going.
Verse 4. Then it shall be, because he hath sinned and is guilty, that he shall restore that which he took violently away, or the thing which he hath deceitfully forgotten. Salakia, that he hath deceitfully gotten, or that which was delivered him to keep, or the lost thing which he found.
So this is to help somebody not be fraudulent. Okay, you have something, and then all of a sudden you say, "Well, this is how I obtained it," but you're not telling. So that's almost like if I receive something and then I give it to Chuprayak and say, "Well, I'm gonna sell it to him." Well, he say, "Well, how did you get it?" And I deceive him to tell him how I received the item that I had. I didn't tell him I stole it. I didn't tell him I violently obtained it. So I lied to Chuprayak. Okay, and that is a sin. When you have an item and you give it to your neighbor and you lie to them, they say, "Well, where did this come from? Where'd you get this?" And then you lie and swear falsely where you've gotten and obtained it from. That is a sin. That's a trespass offering, and that is a trespass against the Lord. Okay, against the Most High, because now you deceived your brother where you received the item from. Okay, because usually when you get something, so where did you get this from? Okay, you say, "Hey, I got it from the store. I got it from here. Oh, this is good. This is good. Where'd you get this from? And then you didn't tell them where you got it from because you lied. You got it, you received it violently, or you stole it. Okay, that's a trespass. So you're supposed to be truthful of where you received items from. And if you give an item unlawfully, you are not to give it to your brother. That's the spirit behind it. You're not to give an item to your brother that you received unlawfully. All right, keep going.
Verse 5. For all that about which he hath sworn falsely,
Shalom, sir.
he shall even restore it in the principal, and shall add the fifth part more thereto, and give it unto him to whom it appertaineth in the day of his trespass offering.
So he needs to return the items back. Okay, this keeps people from stealing and keeps because think about it. If I steal an item and then I give it to Trooper Ayat, and Trooper Ayat is found with that item, what are they going to think?
That it's his.
That it's his, and that or if he's found out, they're going to think he stole it. So he's going to be the blame. Okay, if there's something I stole and they track it down, and I give it to Trooper Ayat, and Trooper Ayat is found with the item, they're going to believe that Trooper Ayat is the one that stole it. That's why you don't obtain items deceitfully, or you don't steal. Okay, because then Trooper Ayat will take the blame for that. All right, keep going.
Verse 6. And he shall bring his trespass offering unto the Lord, a ram without blemish out of the flock, with thy estimation for a trespass offering unto the priest.
You got to restore what you stole too. All right, now we're going to be reading. We're going to be reading Leviticus chapter 6, okay, 7 through 13. We're going to read that in the Hebrew and then in the English. Okay. All right, Leviticus chapter 6, verse 7 in the Hebrew. 7 through 13.
It's like, if I could, let me shout out, we got some people in the chat. We got Sister Yahweh, Sister Becky Yah, Sister Inez. We got Brandon Mason in the chat. Feel me? Shalom to everybody online. You see what I'm saying? If you could go to the page, like, subscribe, and share it, share it on your social media page.
Okay. This is Leviticus chapter 6, verse 7 in the Hebrew. Wakapar, Al-Yawa, Hakahan, Lapanya, Yahweh, Yalasalak, Lawa, Am, Akaf, Makal, Ashar, Ya'isha, La'ashama, Ba, verse 8, Wayinabar, Yahweh, Al, Mashah, La'amar, verse 9, Tazawa, Af, Aharan, Wa'af, Manyawa, La'amar, Za'af, Sawaraf, Ha'ila, Hawa'ah, Ha'ila, Al, Mawakwada, Al, Mazabak, Hamazabak, Call, Halayala, I, Habakwar, Wa'ash, Hamazabak, Thawaqwak, it's like it, Bawa, verse 10, Walabash, Hakahan, Madwa, Bad, Wama Kanasya, Bad, Yala Bash, Basharwa, Waharyam, Hadashan, Ashar, Akal, Ha'ash, Ha'ila, Hamazabak, Washamwa, Atazal, Hamazabak, verse 11. Pashat, Bagadua, Walabash, Bagadyam, Akarium, Watazaya, Ash, Hadashan, Al, Makawataza, Lamakana, Al, Makwawam, Tahawar, verse 12. Ash, Al, Hamazabak, Wakwa, Bawa, La'a, Sakaba, Waba, Alia, Hakahan, Aitazam, Babakwar, Wa'airak, Alia, Ha'ila, Wahakwatayar, Alia, Ha'akalamya, Hashalamyam, verse 13. Ash, Samayat, Sawakwad, Al, Hamazabak, La'a, Fakaka, And that's it. Oh, it's like a box. Like all right, now we're going to be reading Leviticus chapter 6, 7 through 13. We're going to read that in the English. In the English.
Leviticus chapter 6, verse 7. And the priest shall make an atonement for him before the Lord, and it shall be forgiven him for anything of all that he hath done in trespassing therein. Verse 8. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, verse 9, command Aaron and his sons, saying, this is the law of the burnt offering. It is the burnt offering because of the burning upon the altar all night unto the morning, and the fire of the altar shall be burning in it. Verse 10. And the priest shall put on his linen garment, and his linen breeches shall he put on, shall he put upon his flesh, and take up the ashes which the fire hath consumed with the burnt offering on the altar, and he shall put them beside the altar. Verse 11. And he shall put off his garments, and put on other garments, and carry forth the ashes without the camp unto a clean place.
Let's stop right there for a second. Now, this might seem like a lot, but you have to think, like I said, you have to think anciently as well as in modern terms as well. Let me explain. Okay, you're like, man, you gotta take off his garments for this, put on his garments for that. But when you see a certain uniform nowadays, you know what job it's going to be. If I see my mother is is a nurse, so we know nurses wear scrubs. So I shouldn't see a person wearing a scrub putting out fires, okay? Because that's the wrong garment. We should see a firefighter, somebody in a firefighter uniform. So certain of the particular garments lets you know what job the priest was carrying out. Okay, if he had a particular garment, you know what duty he was going to do. That's why the Most High said, "Don't mix garments." Okay, there's a scripture telling me you don't mix certain types of fabrics and stuff together because that's fraud. Okay, you don't. It's confusing. You know, you don't see a cop wearing a firefighter uniform, half a scrub. You're like, well, what's your job? Okay. And that confuses like Babylon. Confusion, which we're in Babylon. You could be a man today and a camel tomorrow. It's very confusing. Okay, you could be a man today and a horse tomorrow. Right? It's just you don't know what the first thing. And that's why, now you got the people talk about pronouns. He, she, it, them, they, our, us. Like, I don't know what they are. Because see the Most High is not the author of confusion. The person has the particular garment with the particular job they're doing. That's why the priest will take off a particular garment to do a job and then put back on the garments to do another job. All right? Is that it? No, you should read. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Verse 12. And the fire upon the altar shall be burning in it. It shall not be put out. And the priest shall burn wood on it every morning and lay the burnt offering in order upon it. And he shall burn thereon the fat of the peace offerings. Verse 13, the fire shall ever be burning upon the altar. It shall never go out.
Excellent. And so there was always something burning. It was about fire on the altar was consistently burning. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead. Now we're going to go ahead and read. We're going to read Leviticus chapter 6, 14 through 20. We're going to read that in the Hebrew.
Leviticus chapter 6, verse 14. Was a there was the Rarat, Hamanakah, Hakarah, Athar, Punya, Aharon, the Punya, Yahweh, all, Punya, Hamazabak, verse 15. Waharayam, Mamanwa, Bako Matazawa, Masala, Hamanakah, Mamasha, Mamasha Mana, Wa'a, Kal, Halabana, Ashar, Al, Hamanakah, Wahakwatya, Hamazabat, Rayak, Niyakah, as a karata, by Yahweh, verse 16. Wahana. Go Wahana Wathara. Wahana Wahra. Wahana. Wahana was a rock. Mamana. Yaakova. Aharon. Wabunyaba. But as a wa. The Akol. Wawam. Wadash. Bakatazar. Ahol. Mawai. Yaakol. Yaakol. 17. The Apa. Kamataza. Kalakwam. Nathapia. Atha. Ma'asya. Badash. Badashya. Hawa'a. Kakata'a. Waka Asham, verse 18. Call, Zakar, Babunya, Aharon, Ya'akalana, Kwak, Iwalam, Yadarakdikum, Ma'asya, Yahawa, Call, Ashar, Yagai, Baham, Yakudash, verse 19. Wayatabar, Yahawa, oh, Mashallah, Amar, verse 20. Zahar, Rabban, Aharon, Yabunyaba, Ashar, Yakor, Yabwa, Layahawa, Yawam, Hamashak, Afwa, Aisha Yara, Ha'apa, Salah, Manakar, Lamayad, Makatazayat, Makatazayatha, Babakwar, Yamakatazayat, like Yamakatazayatha, Ba'ira. And that's it.
Now we'll be reading Leviticus chapter 6, 14 through 20 in the English.
Leviticus chapter 6, verse 14. And this is the law of the meat offering. The sons of Aaron shall offer it before the Lord, before the altar. Verse 15. And he shall take of it his handful of the flour of the meat offering, and of the oil thereof, and all the frankincense which is upon the meat offering, and shall burn it upon the altar for a sweet savor, even the memorial of it unto the Lord. Verse 16. And the remainder thereof shall Aaron and his sons eat.
So right here, so this is the meat offering, or also kind of known as the grain offering. This is something that Aaron and his sons could eat, but they could not eat the burnt offering. Keep going.
Salakia. And the remainder thereof shall Aaron and his sons eat. With unleavened bread shall it be eaten in the holy place. In the court of the tabernacle of the congregation, they shall eat it. Verse 17. It shall not be baken with leaven. I have given it unto them for their portion of my offerings made by fire. It is most holy, as is the sin offering, and as the trespass offering. Verse 18. All the males among the children of Aaron shall eat of it. It shall be a statute forever in your generations concerning the offerings of the Lord made by fire. Everyone that touches them shall be holy.
So, and everyone that touches them, everybody that eats of it shall be, it means they shall be set apart. Aaron and his sons were set apart. Most High set apart Aaron and his sons for the priesthood. Keep going.
Verse 19. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, verse 20, this is the offering of Aaron and of his sons, which they shall offer unto the Lord in the day when he is anointed. The 10th part of a nepha of fine flour for a meat offering perpetual, half of it in the morning and half thereof at night. That's it.
All right. You want to take this off? Okay. All right, now we're going to be reading Leviticus chapter 6, 21 through 27. We're going to read it in the Hebrew. Leviticus chapter 6, verse 21. Makabah, Bashaman, Ba'isa, Barabakaf, Sabaya Ana. Take my lights so I can see. Sapa Posopanya, ya, Sapa Yanga, Mana Kat, Yum, for a quarter yum, or yak, lay a cock, lay a how, verse 22. Hakahun, yak, the cock you are, my bunny you are, ya isa, a thug, quack, our lum, lay a how, Kolial, the Quantar, verse 23. Wakal, Manakaf, Kahan, Kolial, the Haya, La'a, the Akal, verse 24. While you're the bar, Yahweh, all, Mashah, the Amar, verse 25. The bar, all, Aharon, the all, Bunyawa, La Amar, the Af, the Raf, Ha Kata'af, Mama Kwam, Ashar, Sasha Kaf, Swati, Ha'ila, Sasha Kat, Hakata'af, Lapanya, Yahweh, Kodatium, Hawa'ah, verse 26, Hakahan, Hamakata'ah, Atha, Akala Na, Bakwa, Bama Kwam, Kodash, the Akal, Bakatazar, Bakatazar, Ahal, Mawa Aid, verse 27. Call Ashar, Yagai, Baba Shara, Yakwadash, Ashar, Yazam, Madama, Al, Habagad, Ashar, Yazam, Alia, Alia. Saka Bas, Bama Kwam, Kwadash, and that's it. All right, we're going to be now reading that in the English. This is Leviticus chapter 6, verse 21 through 27.
Leviticus chapter 6, verse 21. In a pan it shall be made with oil, and when it is baking, thou shalt bring it in and bake, and the baking pieces of the meat offering shalt thou offer for a sweet savor unto the Lord. Verse 22. And the priest of his sons that is anointed in his stead shall offer it. It is a statute forever unto the Lord. It shall be wholly burnt.
Okay, quick question real quick. It says Aaron and his sons. Okay, how many sons did Aaron initially have when they came out of Egypt? Well, how many sons were recorded? I'm not going to say Aaron could have more. How many sons were recorded that were priests that were assisting Aaron? You know, I got to throw questions in there to keep you on your toes. How many sons were there that was recorded? Go ahead. Close. Close.
This is a question again I'm putting online too.
How many sons? Now, like I said, recorded. How many recorded sons did Aaron have when they came out of Egypt that were assisting him in the priesthood when they initially came out of Egypt? How many priests? Yes. Islam was closer. Go ahead. Now it was 4. It was 4 sons. Okay. What happened to Aaron's first 2 sons? The elder 2. Go ahead.
They were killed for offering strange fire.
They were killed for offering strange fire. So this is how meticulous this really was. Okay. So Aaron's first 2 sons were killed. The elder 2, they were offering strange fire. And really, what that really means is they were doing something they weren't supposed to do. That's why the Most High is very particular how you're supposed to come before. That's what the Christian churches are. They're talking about you can come as you are. You got Christian church get you killed. Okay, you listen to Christian church, you come before the Lord, coming as you are, you know, you're gonna get killed. Okay, because first of all, you come as you are, you know, and the Lord can recognize what you really are. But you coming up there acting like you a woman and you really a man, the Lord will kill you anyway. Okay, that's what the Christian church had you do. Okay, or you coming in there and acting like something you're not supposed to be, the Lord will kill you. So he killed Aaron and his sons from, Aaron's sons were offering strange fire. Okay, so what were the other 2 sons that were in the priesthood after Aaron's first 2 sons died? What were their names? It was, what was it? Eleazar was one. I think it was what was the other one was Ithamar. Okay, those are the two sons. All right. And who took Aaron's place after Aaron died? We should know these things. It's our history. Eleazar. Excellent. Okay. Well, we done with that? Keep going. Oh, that's come.
Verse 23. For every meat offering for the priest shall be wholly burnt. It shall not be eaten. Verse 24. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, verse 25, speak unto Aaron and to his son, saying, this is the law of the sin offering. In the place where the burnt offering is killed, shall the sin offering be killed before the Lord. It is most holy. Verse 26, the priest shall offer it for sin, shall eat it. In the holy place shall it be eaten, in the court of the tabernacle of the congregation.
Okay, quick question again. Oh, read that last slide. Ask a quick question.
In verse 27, whatsoever shall touch the flesh thereof shall be holy. And when there is sprinkled, Salakia, and when there is sprinkled of the blood thereof upon any garment, thou shalt wash that whereon it was sprinkled in the holy place.
Okay, he said you're supposed to eat it in the holy place. Okay, all right. What part of the holy place, or what part of the tabernacle were you not supposed to go into? Okay, so let me describe the tabernacle or the holy place of the Lord's tent. Let's just say it that way. Okay, think of a fence. So when you saw the Lord's tent, there was a fence around it. That was called the court. And we went inside the court. Okay, you had the altar. That's where they burnt all the offerings at. You have the altar right there. That was in the inner court. Okay, all right. The priests and the Levites could come in there to help the priests. Okay, the Levites couldn't go and do anything on the altar, but they could have come and bring the lambs. So they were the assistants. Think of the modern day like a trooper and an officer. Think of the troopers kind of like the Levites. They were assisting the priests, like the troopers assist the officer. Okay. Then you had right before the tent, the Lord's tent, you had a labor where you could wash. The priest would wash. Then you had on the inside, there was two compartments. You had a compartment where you had table of showbread, you had the lampstand, and then you had a curtain separating the two parts. And behind the other curtain was the next room, which was where the Ark of the Covenant sat. So, which place were the priests not allowed to go into? Which part? I know Shalom knows. Which part were the priests not allowed to go into? I'll give you a hint. Only Aaron could go into this part once a year.
Hey, Salakia, and if I could too, we're gonna get people on timeline or people online time to answer this as well. But you got to realize when you come to this class, you see what I'm saying, be in them scriptures. You see what I'm saying? Uriah Allah, he's a great teacher. His name literally means teacher of the Most High. You see what I'm saying? So this is what you're going to learn. You see what I'm saying? And some of these questions, the way you learn them like this, it'll stick with you forever. You see what I'm saying? So online, if you in class, you see what I'm saying? Make sure you got your Bible open. Make sure you take your notes. You see what I'm saying? So that these things that we ask and stuff like that, you remember them going forward because it will be asked again. Okay. Right. Let me ask the question again. Ain't nobody online? Take it.
Go ahead, Shalom. What part could they not go into? The most holy place, which the Ark of the Covenant sat. Why couldn't you go in there? Let's ask why really quickly. Why couldn't you just go in there? What did the Ark of the Covenant symbolize? What did it symbolize? Think of a king and his court. What did the Ark of the Covenant symbolize? Go ahead.
The throne.
The throne. Can you walk into the Oval Office with, whoever's in charge? No. You can't even get into the White House compound without Secret Service, unaliving you. Okay? So the most holy place, that's where Ark of the Covenant sat. That was the king's throne. That was the Most High's throne. And that's where he sat. And he sat on the mercy seat. That's what his throne was called. It was called the mercy seat. And that's interesting that he sits on a throne of mercy when it comes to Israel. Okay, you got to think about that. Because usually when a king sits, what does he sit to do? To make adjustments and make executions. Okay, the Most High, when it comes to Israel, on his throne, and notice it's in the midst of Israel. We're not talking about the other nations. He sits on a seat of mercy. Okay, because that's why Israel is still alive today. Because Israel should have been unalive a long time ago.
Right.
Because Israel became worse or just as bad as the other nations that the Most High got rid of. But because he sits on a seat of mercy, and because his covenant with Abraham, that's why it's called the Ark of the Covenant. The throne is called the Ark of the Covenant, the throne of the covenant, because he remembers the covenant that he made with who? Who did he make the covenant with? Abraham. There we go. So that should be all a reminder of who your power is. All right? Was that it?
Yeah, that's it.
And that's it. Good job. All right. Let's call this is wrong. 6 point. Okay. What's that? Yeah, what's who wants to sort of no,
They sing like
all right, just people up here. I might. Trooper, knock this out. Present thyself in thy registry.
that's and you have it. Yes,
Not so wrong. But Yahweh, but Yashal.
Action. Yeah.
Yahweh, but Sim Yashal, Rakata.
Oh, second.
Good shot.
You want to read this?
Okay, now we're going to read Leviticus 6, chapter 6, 28 through 30. And then we're going to read Leviticus chapter 7, 1 through 4. We're going to read that in the Hebrew first, and then we'll read it in English.
Leviticus chapter 6, verse 28. Wakolia, Karash, Ashar, the Bashar, Bahwa, Yeshabar, Wakolia, Nakasha, Bashalah, Mumarak, Washatap, Wamayam, verse 29, Kol, Zakar, Bakahanyam, Yaakov, Atha, Padash, Padashyam, Hawa'ah, verse 30, Wakol, Kata'ah, Ashar, Yawaba'ah, Madama, Al, Ahol, Mawa'ai, Lakapar, Wakadash, Sa'ah, the Akol, Ba'ash, the Sharak. Leviticus chapter 7, verse 1. Was A'ah, the Warak, Ha'asham, Padash, Padashyam, Hawa'ah, verse 2. Wamakawam, Ashar, Yeshakatwa, Ha'ailah, Yeshakatwa, Ha'asham, Wa'ah, Damwa, Yazarak, Al, Hamazabak, Sabayah, verse 3. Wa'ah, Kal, Kalabwa, Yakoraya, Mamanwa, Ha'alaya, Wa'ah, Hakalab, Hamakasa, Hakarab, verse 4. Wa'ah, Shafya, Hakalaya, Wa'ah, Hakalab, Ashar, Aliyahan, Ashar, Hakasoyam, Wa'ah, Hayatara, Hakabai, Hakalaya, Yasarayan, Yasayar, Yasayarana. That's it.
Okay, now we're going to be reading Leviticus chapter 6, 28 through 29. Did you repeat every verse every read? Yeah, you read the verse. Okay, so we're going to read Leviticus chapter 6, verse 28 in the English. Anytime you're ready, not so. Right here.
Leviticus 28,
Mm-hmm.
what the first vessels is saw in the should be broken.
Mm-hmm.
It's short be saw in the first broken spot in France in the sheep and the rest of the as the world.
So, but the earthen vessel wherein it is sodden shall be broken. This is verse 28. And if it be sodden in a brazen pot, it shall be both scoured and rinsed in water. Okay, go ahead, verse 29.
All the remains and the priest shall eat thereof in the most holy.
Verse 29, it says, all the males among the priests shall eat thereof. It is most holy. So only the males of the priests were supposed to eat of this. Verse 30, go ahead.
Verse 30, and the offering of and offering and the united states to recognize the interpretation is in the solid place shall be eaten in the shall be for God.
Okay. And it says, verse 30, and no sin offering whereof any of the blood is brought into the tabernacle of the congregation to reconcile with all in the holy place shall be eaten. It shall be burnt in the fire. Okay. Now we're reading Leviticus chapter 7, verse 1. Go ahead.
Verse 7. This is conference the most holy.
Okay, verse 7, it says, likewise, this is the law of the trespass offering. It is most holy. Verse 2.
Verse 2, in the place of where the burnt offerings shall be killed from the trespassing offerings as the blood shall be sprinkled around the altar.
Okay, it says, verse 2, in the place where they shall they kill the burnt offering, shall they kill the trespass offering, and the blood thereof shall be sprinkled round about upon the altar. Quick question, another quiz question. You know I got to keep going. So, how many altars were there in the Lord's tent? How many altars were there? How many altars were there that belonged to the Lord when it came to the congregation? How many altars were there? It's always good to guess. Not to call on people. You know I'll call on you. It's always good to guess before I call you. And you know how the teacher makes the eye contact knowing he's coming to you. Let's get the young man in the back. Take a good guess. What's your name?
Brian.
Young man Brian, take a good guess. How many altars were there?
7.
Okay, good thinking. Not quite 7. A little bit less than that. Actually, a lot less. Small. How many altars were there?
Did you say altars?
Altars. A-L-T-A-R-S. Yeah. Altars. No, I thought you said offers. I thought you already said offers.
No, just what I'm trying to get this. Are you saying altars?
How many altars did they do work on? Go ahead. There's 2. You have the altar where you did your sacrifices on, and that was in the courtyard. And then you had in the holy place the altar of incense. You had 2 altars. Excellent. All right. Keep going. Verse 3. What's up?
Verse 3.
Uh-huh.
And he shall offer him of it the fat of the thereof, the trumpet, and the fat, and coverings and works.
Verse 3, it says, and he shall offer it all the fat thereof, the rump and the fat that covereth the inwards. Verse 4, go ahead.
Verse 4, for the two kidneys in the fat that shall is on them, which is the flank and the flank, and the fall to his the blood and liver and the kidneys and stay away.
Okay. And this is what Amos Shalom was talking about, how the fat was taken out, the kidneys that was burned. Verse 4. And the two kidneys and the fat that is on them, by which is by the flanks, and the caul that is above the liver, with the kidneys, it shall be taken away. Okay? And as Amos Shalom said, they were consumed. All right? And that's it. Excellent. Super knocked job, getting an N. That's been very faithful. All right. Okay, just the people up here. I know you. Young man Brian, present thyself in thy registry. Brian. Brian. Ban Yahawada, Ban Yashal. See me on shop rocket up.
You're right.
You shot me. Okay, we're reading our last scripture for today. We're reading Leviticus chapter 7, 5 through 11 in the Hebrew.
Leviticus chapter 7, verse 5. What yan? Akum, Hakahun, Hamasabaka, Asha, Layahawa, Asham, Hawa, verse 6, called Zakar, Bakahanyam, Yaakala Yanwa, Akalanwa, Hamakawam, what a wash, Yaakal, Wadash, Badashiam, Hawa, verse 7, Akata, Ka'asham, Kawara, Akah, Lahum, Akahan, Ashar, Yakapar, Wa, Yahaya, verse 8, Hakahan, Hamakoriya, Ayla, Ayas, Iwar, Ha'ayla, Ashar, Akoraya, Makahan, Lawa, Yahaya, verse 9, the call, Manaka, Ashar, the Apa, but then a war, the call, Naisha, the Maraka, Mamakasha, Wa'al, Makaba, Lakahan, Hamakoriya, Ata, Lawa, Haya, verse 10, Wakal, Manaka, Falawala, Shaman, Wakaraba, Makal, Banya, Aharan, Haya, Ayas, Ka'akyawa, verse 11,
was A'ah, there were Ra, Zabak, Hashalumium, Ashar, the Koriyah, the Yahweh. That's it. All right, we're going to be reading our last scripture for the day. We're reading Leviticus chapter 7, and we're reading verses 5 through 11. Book of Leviticus, chapter 7, verse 5. And the priest shall burn them upon the altar for an offering made by fire unto the Lord. It is a trespass offering. Verse 6. Every male among the priests shall eat thereof. It shall be eaten in the holy place. It is most holy. Verse 7. As the sin offering is, so is the trespass offering. There is one law for them. The priest that maketh atonement, therewith shall have it. Verse 8. And the priest that offered any man's burnt offering, even the priest shall have to himself the skin of the burnt offering, which he had offered. Verse 9. And all the meat offering, it is baked in the oven, and all that is dressed in the frying pan. And in the pan shall be the priest that offered it. Verse 10. And every meat offering mingled with oil and dry shall the sons of Aaron have one as much as others. Verse 11. And this is the law of the sacrifice of the peace offerings, which he shall offer unto the Lord. Okay, so I want to paint a picture as well. You got to think of all of this was going on at one time. That's why the priesthood there was a lot of them, because you had a lot of people coming up that were coming up different, especially during the feast. Okay, you got to think how to look at the feast time, because you had a lot of people coming up giving different offerings, and you had to have a large priesthood that would be able to bear all of that. Okay, and sometimes they did not have enough priests. So, question, who really had to help them? Go ahead. The Levites. Because there was a feast, I can't remember which feast it was under a king. It was either Josiah or Hezekiah. It was one of them two. They didn't have enough priests. So the Levites actually had to really help them. So the Levites had to really assist them, because people are coming up with different offerings, free will offerings, trespass offerings, grain offerings, offerings of Thanksgiving. And, it's a lot going on at that time. Okay. So you got to think of, you got to paint a picture of what was really going on. So that's why all the priests had to be there at the feast, at the feast time. When the Most High says 3 times a year, your male shall appear before me. Okay. Those are 3 seasons. Okay. So you had to think about that. Now, when David came into to reign, David split the priesthood up into 24 courses, okay, or 24 divisions. So a family would be a priesthood's family would be at the Jerusalem or at the tabernacle for a week, and then as the Sabbath came or before the Sabbath, they would switch off with the next family. So your family, if there's 52 weeks in a year, your family probably would be up there at least, if you were in the priesthood and one of those divisions, at least twice a year. That's not including the feast, because the feast, everybody had to be there. Okay, because there's a lot of work to be done. Okay, but if there was 24 divisions, okay, your family had to go when it was their course to go up. Okay, so you just got to think about that, all that was going on, what a priest had to do, and the Levites had to assist them all that. Like I said, the picture of a priest and a Levite is like an officer and a trooper. Okay, they're working together to get the job done. A trooper is not allowed to touch the holy things. just like the Levites were. The Levites couldn't go really and touch the altar or none of the holy things. They couldn't touch it, but they were a big help. Okay, but the priests were the ones that could touch. You got a question? They could only move it. Good question. Say your question out loud so you can. So the Levites, and it had to depend on what family of Levites. Okay, it couldn't just be any Levite. So, Salam asked, she said she thought the Levites could carry the furniture. That's only after the priests went in and covered everything. They had to go and cover it. And really, they weren't touching the furniture. They would have the poles that they could put their hands on. And what priestly family could do that? Because it wasn't any Levite, what Levitical family could carry the holy things on the poles. No, it wasn't the Gershonites. It was the Kohathites that could do that. So it just couldn't be any Levite to go up there and touch it. The holy things would be covered, and the Kohathites could come and they would put the poles in the rings, and then they could pick up the holy items like that. But they could not come and touch one of the holy items that was only the priest could touch. You could get killed for that. Okay? And anybody could get killed for touching the Ark of the Covenant. If you touch like the king's throne. What was that? Uzzah. Uzzah, I believe, was a priest. And he died. You look at that, he died because the ark was tilted. And he tried to kill him from that. And he died. He got killed. So that was serious business. And it scared David and his men. Okay?
And if I could, just to add on, if you bring it to today, that's why you have to be a priest and an officer to even be on the stage. You see what I'm saying? It's an exception for the Sabbath service with young men or troopers reading. But even the trooper, they not supposed to deal with none of the Sabbath, none of the holy things that we have for the Sabbath. You see what I'm saying? So we wouldn't ask the trooper to clean this table off. You see what I'm saying? We wouldn't ask the trooper to do anything on the stage because they're not allowed to do those things. You see what I'm saying? It's only for the priests and the officers to do it. Yeah. So that's the reason, and it's coming straight from the same thing that Officer Uriah was just talking about. That's the same reason why I can't no women be up there. You notice none of the women were touching none of those priestly things. They were not the tabernacle doing work and things like that. That's not saying our sister can't help out in here, but when it comes to the holy things of the Most High, that is for the priest of the Lord to handle.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions? All right. Just the people up here. I remind you. Hold on, right there. Thanks together. Thanks for
La. Say la. Say la. La.
La.
Yasha.
Yasha.
Let's see. Didn't fall out. Perfect. Yeah, it's what they cover. Let's go. Men of Israel, gird up thy loins and prepare to salute the Torah. Yehovah, see that sucker.
Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barak.
Sorry.
I did. 6-7. And no, 6-7. Rock first. Rock to your chest. Rock to your chest first. To your chest. Now it's there. Out.
No.
Hashem.
Yeah.
Hashem.
Hashem.
Yehoshua.
Hashem.
Barak.
Barak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job, bro. Yeah.
Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Barak. Yup.
I hope it's centered. I can't tell if it's centered or not. So
That's the you can salute you. The rocks, not your chest.
Rock.
No. Power.
Yahweh.
Hashem.
Hashem. Yahweh Shah.
The rock.
Barak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
back. Yeah.
This is the Madim, which means stand for everybody, sisters included. Madim Wapayah, which means rise and face the east. We're going to do the Lord's Prayer. We're going to do it in Hebrew first, then in the English. The Lord's Prayer. Abinah. Shabbat Shabbat. Shabbat Shabbat. Well, I ain't out. I'm going to say one. I'm ashamed. Give us this day our daily bread. Give us our debts. As we forgive our debts, we forgive our debts. Lead us not. To temptation. But deliver us. Evil. For many, thine is the king, and the power, and the glory, So be it. This is a cop the power. Yahweh. Hashem Yahushua. The thunder now. Lord for us. And in the English, in the name of Yahweh, please give us the power. The power to heal. All manner of sickness. All manner of disease. The power to cleanse the life. The power to raise the dead. The power against unclean spirits. Cast them out. The name outside. Thank you. So be it. This is blessed Israel. Yahweh. Hashem Yahushua. Rock now. We are Allah. The Yah. Safari. Rock. Hashem Yahushua.
In the English, Yahweh. In the name of Yahweh. In the name of Yahweh. And Israel. And Israel. And the school. And the school. In the name of Yahweh. Thank you. Thank you. So big. So big. This is Psalms 121. I said, a young, yeah, give me a cup, give me a cup. Mom, that's your mom, or your rock, or your rock, or your love, your home, yeah, it's smart, it's smart, it's cold rock, it's smart, it's smart. That's so after the pasta, yeah, that's smart, that's smart, that's an after. Never will come, I will love. And in the English, I will lift up my eyes to the hill. I will lift up my eyes to the hill. What's coming my help? What's coming my help? My help coming from your house. My help coming from your house. It's made heaven and earth. Which made heaven and earth. You will not suffer thy foot to be moved. You will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keep thee will not suffer. Behold. He that keep Israel, he that keep Israel, so neither summer nor sleep, Yahweh is thy keep, Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand, the sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee. From all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out. He's not coming in. From this time forth. Forevermore. So big. This is Psalm 83. Alahaya. Out there, Mayalaka. Out there, Mayalaka. Out like a rock. Out like a rock. Out the Shaquat. Out like a squat. Out the Yamana. Out the Yamika. Out the Yamika. How are you one? How are you one? One is Shania. One is Shania. That's your hour. That's your hour. Every young one. Suwa. Where you think your out as well. Where you think your out as well. One you got. One you got. Mark, the coward, the cocky, the go on the earth. It's a car. Show me that your house. Hey, look. Yeah. I test the word. Lie. The cup. Where ya? The rock. The holy. The wall. We should my eye. We should my eye. The ball, and the one. The shop, I'm your shop. There's a wolf, there's a Lord, I'm a wolf, I'm a wolf, the because the Bible is about what it's all about. It's all about. Going to say your come. Going to say your come. Sure. Tomorrow. They were sure. The what? No, what? Say your thumb. The doctor. What? Honey, recover. So, but I bring your eye. Hurry. We're down. What's the Africa? What's the pop? What's the pop? When you hurt, when you crush, to God, you bust, when you hold, and your eye, where you fall, where you butt, where you the iron, where you the butt, you won, I'll call, I'm on in English. Keep not thyself so your house. Keep not thyself so your house. Hold not thy peace. Be not still in your house. Be not still in your house. But look, the enemies make a tumult. And then they hate you. And looking at the head. They take you right to the house. They take you right to the house. Against thy people. And consult against thy enemy. And said, no, let us cut them off. Be the name of Israel. There be no more remember. They consult together. What
sin.
One sin.
They are prophetic against
They
it.
are prophetic against it.
The tabernacles of evil.
The tabernacles of evil.
And the Israelites. Moab, the Hagarenes, the Baal, and Ammon, and Amalek, the Philistines, the inhabitants of Tyre.
The inhabitants of Tyre.
Actually also joined with them.
Also joined with them.
They have opened the children of block.
Salah.
Going to them. It's into the Midianites. It's to Sarah. It's to Jabez.
It's to bed.
And the book of Psalm.
The book of Psalm.
Paris and Endor.
It
became as nothing for the earth.
It became dumb for the earth.
It knows like a rabbit.
It knows like a rabbit.
Like I said, yeah. All the princes, and the bomb,
It's a God.
there's a moon,
It's a movement.
who said, let's say to ourselves,
Let us take to ourselves.
houses of your house of possession,
Houses of your house of possession.
oh my power,
Oh my God.
make it like a wheel,
Make it like a wheel.
to suffer for the wind,
To suffer for the wind.
as the fire burns the wood,
As the fire burns the wood.
as the flames of the mountains on fire,
As the flames of the mountains on fire.
so persecute them,
With thy temple.
make them afraid,
Make them afraid.
thy sword,
Thy sword.
with their faces with shame,
With their faces with shame.
and they may seek thy name,
They may see thy name.
oh your house,
Oh, your house.
that you can find,
They can find.
yeah,
Yeah.
but the shame,
You put shame
and perish.
Right.
And then they know,
Then they know.
that whose name alone
And alone
is your house.
is your house.
The Most High,
Of the Most High.
of all the earth.
Of all the earth.
So big.
So big. This is the blessing. Barakatah Yahweh.
Rock your house.
Wa Yahweh Shah.
Oh, your house.
Wa min Yahweh.
Oh, your house.
Wa ala hayim.
Wa ala hayim.
Wa tazab Yahweh.
Tazab Yahweh.
Wa wak Yahweh.
Oh, wak Yahweh.
Wa wak Yahweh. That's the running.
That's a running.
It's a young young.
That's a young young.
Haki ya young young.
Okay, you know.
Wa akwakin.
What you?
Yahweh.
The house.
Sun Yahweh.
I see your house.
Wa Yahweh.
Wow. In the English. Bless your house.
Bless your house.
And your house.
And your house.
And Michael.
Michael.
And the angel.
Yeah.
The man's in your heart.
Man's in your heart.
The captain. The officer. The truth. And the sense. Your heart. In the name of Yahweh.
In the name of
Yahweh. Thank you. It's so big. So big. These are the curses. Blessed be your house.
Blessed be your house.
King of heaven and earth.
King of heaven and earth.
And all things left.
All things left.
In the name of Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh.
Listen to us now.
Listen to us now.
Send evils and curses.
Evils and curses.
And punishment and destruction.
And punishment and destruction.
To the heat.
To the heat.
That speak against us.
That speak against us.
The teachers, the prince, the priests, Israelite, and send evils and curses, punishment and destruction, to the heat, say us the trap, of the rich Israel, refuse to get to the school, scorch their riches, to enter to thy sanctuary, evils and curses, and punishment and destruction, to the Edomites, and the next, and their trouble, the corpses, the princesses, all the governments of our enemies, and let synagogues now, Roman Catholic Church, of Hope, Islam, Christianity, Egyptology, Melissa, Ku Klux Klan, every nation, skinhead, house come the gay, the lesbian, stop, works of witchcraft, that's the space program, Nick, read, walk, open up the internet, and yeah, we have access to it, and the radio channel, convict the spirit, many black people, that seek to stop, and bring swift destruction, for all the people stand in the way, try to stop, from broadcasting your word, across the planet Earth. Let these all play, because we go to and fro, the earth, consume the planet. Let the take the house of the deed, and the word, let you have a shot, Michael the gate, come down with the flying sauce, but it's all the heat, come up against us, as we speak that word, because we know, that is the angel, that must be spread, in the meat, you got the whole world, what's the shaking that comes, I'm naming you how to say, thank you always, so big, Saul, which means the church.
This concludes the service.
So no. Okay. Since it's your shop,
Slide, 1 second.
See your shop. Men of Israel, we're gonna give a one courtesy salute to the teacher. Saw which means turn. Men of Israel, one courtesy salute to your teacher. Men of Israel, Mike Shabbat. Hey, Mike. Bro. Yahweh Simeon Shah Brakatah. Yahweh Simeon Shah. Let's do that again. We're gonna do it together. We're gonna salute him first, all right? Men of Israel, we're gonna give a one courtesy salute to the teacher. Men of Israel, Mike Shabbat. Hey, Mike. Bro. Yahweh Simeon Shah Brakatah.
Yahweh Simeon Shah Brakatah.
Yad Gimatah, which means hand down, Shah, which means turn. Sisters of Madiam, which means stand. Men of Israel, we're gonna give a one courtesy salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, Mat Shabbat, Amen, Barak, Yahweh Shabbat, Simeon Shah. Yad Gimatah, class dismissed.
Hey, listen, brothers and sisters, man. If you like what you hear, hit the subscribe button, man. Subscribe to this channel. And also, please go to isubk.com and pay your tithe. Drop me some cash so we can move around this planet like we need to, man, and do the things we need to do.
They're one West. They're one West. They're one West. They're